Welcome to eLeader Tech. I'm your host, Mike Hill. The Guest Trek rotation system was developed by eLeader Tech to address two critical questions. First, when a guest arrives at the dealership, how do client advisors maximize the opportunity to help that the guests validate and not eliminate the dealership from their automotive search? Second, and even more important, how can client advisors effectively ensure that at all points of contact, the guest again validates and not eliminates the dealership as a place to do business? The answer to both questions is time blocking using Guest Trek Rotation app. The Guest Trek Rotation system will help client advisors use time more effectively in both servicing guests and executing actions that create increased guest traffic, resulting in a greater number of vehicles sold and increased dealership market share. With me today is Scott Bugay. Hello, Scott.
Good morning, Mike. How are you?
Great. You know, Scott, we know surveys have said, and we've talked about this in our training courses, that 91% of people when dealing with dealerships don't enjoy the experience.
You're absolutely correct, Mike. And I think the big thing with that is the traditional dealership experience, where a guest will drive on the lot and they'll see multiple people coming at them, almost swarming them, and it puts them into an uncomfortable position and quite often puts them into a negative state of mind. And they're apprehensive at the least as far as what that experience is going to entail.
So, and just as you're saying, you know, most dealers, as they approach it, if they're in that apprehensive state of mind already, and they're approached by a swarm of wolves, okay, they can go into a negative state of mind very quickly. And that's one of the things that the Guest Trek rotation app does, because with the rotation, when properly executed, the host would be greeting them like they would be greeted at a fine hotel or a fine restaurant. You know, we've also seen in surveys that 20% of the client advisor's time is actually spent in the active pursuit of selling a car. That means 80% of their time, they're inactive.
Well, I'll tell you what, 80% of the time being inactive leads to stress, leads to negative thoughts and boredom. Just think about this. Negative thoughts breed negative thoughts, and positive thoughts breed positive thoughts. So imagine if they are 80% of the time actively working to serve the guests. What a better experience that is, not only for them as the individual client advisors, but most importantly, the guests themselves.
Well, when the guest is greeted properly, again, that's going to start that positive state of mind. But in every touch point in the guest's buying experience with the rotation system, it's going to keep them in that positive state of mind, or actually lead them to that positive state of mind. Whether the client advisor is in the host position, the rover position, service drive, phone, internet, or even BDC, 80% of their time or more is spent in the active pursuit of serving guests and selling.
Absolutely. And that's what the Guest Trek rotation does for our dealers. Each one of those positions is set up so that the client advisor is busy. They are staying positive. They are working towards serving those guests rather than, once again, letting those negative thoughts come in their minds. And maybe, in turn, when they do have interactions with guests, whether it be coming into the dealership or maybe on the phone, in those situations, they can come across in a negative way. What we want them to do is to be in that positive state of mind where they're actively working to serve the guest, and therefore, in turn, a better experience for the guest.
Well, you know, we've all had the situation where if we haven't talked with a guest, if we haven't been engaged with a guest, and we get a little bit stale, and when we get in front of that guest, we're stale. We come across wrong. If we're spent the majority of our time where we're actively involved, whether it is in the BDC, whether it's answering phone and internet calls, whether it's in the service drive interacting with guests, when we're in front of that guest actually coming up to our dealership, we're ready to go. We're already in the right state of mind. So Certainly leads us. And the nice thing about the rotation app is that no matter where I am in the dealership, my telephone is always going to show me exactly where I'm at, okay? And I can see, okay, that, oh, I've just been moved to the host position. Okay, it's time for me to rotate to that next position, and I'm ready to go.
Absolutely. And with that, Mike, with the reporting system, the dealers that I have that are using Guest Trek rotation, they have the reporting system to where they can go in and they can take a look at each and every position of the rotation. And with that, it creates the opportunity for coaching, encouraging, and developing of their client advisors. My dealers love it.
Well, you know, and you take a look at it, and I've talked with client advisors also that have come in, and they can actually see their time. This is how much time. This is how many hours that I spent in BDC. This is how many hours I actually spent in front of the guest. And they're taking a look at that and really strategizing, using the rotation app, okay, if I did more time spent here, how more effective would I be? It just becomes a game plan for them to look at every single day, along with what the dealers are seeing as far as how their client advisors are spending their day and serving their guests.
Absolutely. It's very positive, and the responses from my dealers, it's just amazing.
Well, thank you, Scott, for visiting with us. If you want more information on the Guest Trek Rotation app, please contact us at the email below.